Welcome back! This week is shaping up to be a big one for the crypto markets. We're going to be looking at some major economic pressures, a huge potential merger, and a ton of action happening inside the ecosystem. So let's just dive right in.
You know, if you've been watching the charts, you've seen it. For weeks now, Bitcoin and pretty much the whole market have just been stuck, kind of trading sideways. But that might all be about to change. So the real question on everyone's mind is, what's it going to take? What's the catalyst that's finally going to get this market moving?
Right now, the market is coiled up like a spring, just waiting for a push. And, well, this week we've got two massive events on the calendar that could be exactly that push. One is coming from the world of traditional finance, and the other is happening right here in the crypto industry.
So let's break these two down. On one side, you have these huge external pressures from the global economy. And on the other, you've got this really significant internal shakeup that could actually redefine a key part of the crypto world.
So you've really got these two totally different forces at play this week. First, there's the Fed. Their interest rate decision has the power to make risky assets, like crypto, either way more or way less attractive to big money investors. Then we have a huge vote on a Bitcoin miner merger, which is going to be like a report card on the health and the future of the entire mining industry. Okay, so why should we care about the Fed funds rate? Well, think of it like the base interest rate for the whole economy. When the Fed cranks that rate up, super safe investments like bonds start looking a lot more appealing. And when that happens, money tends to flow out of things like crypto and into those safer bets. And here it is. This is the magic number everyone is going to be glued to this week. The market is basically pricing in a target range between 3.75 and 4%, which the Fed is going to announce on Wednesday, October 29th. If they come in higher or lower, or even if they just say something unexpected, that could really throw the market for a loop. And then boom, the very next day, October 30th, we get our big industry event. Core Scientific stockholders are voting on a potential merger with CoreWeave. This is a huge deal, folks. The result is going to tell us so much about confidence, about consolidation. It's basically a real-time signal about where the entire mining industry is headed. All right, so outside of those two monster events, there is a ton happening under the hood in crypto. So let's take a look inside the ecosystem at some key upgrades, important votes, and a few deadlines to watch. Let's run through the calendar real quick. On October 28th, Ethereum's next big upgrade, Fusaka, which is all about making the network more efficient, is going to hit a major testnet. Then on the 30th, the Kronos mainnet gets its Smart Earn upgrade to boost its performance. And then, on a bit of a somber note, November 1st is the official deadline for the P2P marketplace Paxful to shut its doors. A really busy few days on the tech front. You want to see decentralization in action? Look no further. There are some major decisions being finalized in DAOs this week. Gnosis DAO is revamping its voting system. Lisk DAO is voting on a 4 million LSK startup fund. And just look at Arbitrum DAO. They're deciding whether to move 8,500 ETH into their treasury to start earning yield. I mean, that's real money. And these are real financial decisions being made directly by the community. It's pretty cool. Okay, time to follow the money. This week, we're getting a direct look at the financial health of some of the biggest public companies in crypto, and at the same time, we've got a huge wave of new token supply about to hit the market.
You're going to want to have these names on your radar. On Monday, we get PayPal's report, but Wednesday's just stacked. We're hearing from the exchange giant Coinbase, the social media platform Reddit, Bitcoin miner Riot Platforms, and of course, Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, the biggest corporate holder of Bitcoin. This is going to be a massive pulse check for the whole industry.
And now for something that could really put some pressure on prices. Token unlocks. Basically, a flood of new supply is about to be released. And we are not talking about small amounts here. Just look at Sui. That's over $108 million worth of new tokens hitting the market. Then you've got Grass with over 77 million. The numbers are huge. So, you do the math. That adds up to well over $200 million in fresh supply becoming available this week alone. So you gotta ask yourself, which of these projects is strong enough to absorb all that new supply? And which ones might get crushed under the weight of it? So let's bring this all home. With all these different things pulling the market in different directions, how do you make sense of it all? Let's boil it down into your game plan for the week. When you boil it all down, your whole week comes down to these three key pressures. You've got the macro pressure from the Fed, you've got industry-specific news from that miner merger, and you've got that direct supply-side pressure from all those token unlocks. The real question is how they play off each other. Some good news from the Fed could probably soak up all that new supply, no problem. But bad news? Oof, that could make things a whole lot worse. Which leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? With a macro headwind, a huge industry vote, and a flood of new supply all colliding in the exact same week, who's going to win this tug of war? The bulls or the bears? I guess we're all about to find out.